perceiving you. Do you feel that's accurate, and is that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I feel like I'm at a pretty good place in my life with who I am. I just kind of learned not to give a fuck, and it feels great.
Thanks, Sean. If I could quickly for Tyron. Tyron, I know that you were, kind of looking for some other fights out there, as a businessman, your legacy, looking for other things. But I wonder, as a martial artist, fighting a guy like Demian Maia, preparing for somebody like him who's so good at one aspect of the game, was it exciting for you at all? Once this was the fight that you had, did you enjoy preparing for it?
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and think I enjoy someone jumping on my back and constantly defending the shots, but that's what you do. It makes me a better martial artist because had I not been presented an opportunity to compete against him, I would have dug down deep in the jiu-jitsu background, learned how to defend, learned how to get ready for all these different positions, and the same thing with Stephen Thompson. So in hindsight, it actually is making me a better martial artist. I was always open to this fight. It's not like he won 7 fights in a row and he came by surprise, like I didn't know he was coming up. So I think that's, I wouldn't say that's 100% factual that, I wasn't interested in fighting him. I just wanted to fight. I didn't want to take a break. I didn't want to wait until the end of the year. And I felt like as a challenger, you step up and you fight. And that's why we fighting Saturday.
Thanks, Tyron. And just lastly for me, if I could, for Demian, please. You said when you won the fight earlier this year to get this, you said you wanted to wait a while. You had some things to do and some things to take care of. Now we're fighting, right now. I wonder, kind of what sacrifice did you have to make to get here, and what guarantees do we have that you're 100% the best Demian Maia that you can be here?
When we get the notice for the fights 5 weeks before, I was kind of wondering. But then, we were with our team and we talked and we said, this can be, the only chance that we have. Let's take this chance. And thanks God, I'm very good, that the camp went really well. We were afraid that we knew we couldn't make any mistakes in this camp. We couldn't. When you have like a 10-week camp, you can make some mistakes and correct during the way. But right now for this camp, you couldn't. Actually, we had like 4 weeks of training and the fight week. So, that's what we did. Was very intense, but everything worked really well, and my team was great, and everything was great.
Over here. This question's for John. Hey, John, you're 30 now. So I'm wondering, as you turn 30, I guess on the 19th of July, what would you say about your 20s? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it somewhere in between? How would you look back on that decade in your life?
I don't really like you, Luke, so I'm not going to answer your question.
Down here in front. Down here in front. Cris, down here. This is your first fight week in the UFC, fighting at 145 pounds. How much easier is this week for you now you're fighting at your true weight?
I think the easier, I say hello for everybody, come see me here. And the easier part, I think my camp, I did really happy. I think it cut from back to my division. I think it changed my mood every day. I go train happy, and my team really happy with me. And I feel great. I feel ready. And Saturday night is gonna be my day.
Great stuff. Thank you, Tonya, down here as well, to your right. Hello. This is your first fight in the UFC as well. How much of a bigger deal does this feel than, I guess, fighting in Invicta, and how excited are you for Saturday night?
To be honest, I'm just happy to be here, and I think that this is definitely my time in my career. I think I'm at the top of my game. I think the beginning of my career was like, it took me a while to catch on and figure out what kind of fighter I am, and I definitely think this is the right time in the right spot, and I feel like I'm in the right weight class at 135, and if you're in the right weight class, you can go down 10 pounds, you can come up 10 pounds either way, and I think that I'm definitely willing to do that. I just want to work, so here I am.
Great stuff, thanks. And lastly, for Daniel, straight in front of you, sir. So much has been said since UFC 200, since that fight got cancelled. You've used, I guess, the term junkie with John a few times. In your heart of hearts, do you truly believe that he has cheated and tried to get an advantage over you using illegal substances?
Well, the other day, John about cried on the press conference because I had accused him of using steroids. But if I do feel he did try to cheat, yeah, I do. Why can I not say what I feel? I can say whatever I want. If I believe it in my heart, then I will say it. And yes, I do believe
He's done it for a long time. So I don't care. You've got a pretty loud voice there, buddy. Good job.
How long do you think I've been doing steroids?
Was that?
How long do you think I've been doing steroids?
Well, you're probably about, you've earned a title fight, you know, so I imagine you're about 3-0 in the UFC, so those first few fights. Ovent St. Preux, Guzmão, and Forrest Bonner, or whatever his name is. What's that guy's name that he beat? Yeah, Stephan Bonner. Stephan Bonner. Those 3 fights is when you didn't do steroids. But everything else in the middle is eliminated.
When I started powerlifting, 4 days a week, and I started, you know, with these chicken-ass legs with my bad genetics, I started deadlifting 600 pounds, squatting 500 pounds. USADA was in full effect. So how did I get away with that?
You did. I'm not saying you did it last year versus Ovent St. Preux. You were clean last year when you fought Ovent St. Preux.
When I was the biggest ever.
That's why you look like you look.
How do I look?
You're a bum. That's why you looked like a bum last time.
How do I look, DC?
Hey, all that's all just. Hey, listen, that's all just for show. That's all just for show. I don't care about that.
Who looks like a junkie here today?
That's just all for show.
Look at
You
this
can
guy's
show your
face.
6-pack.
Who looks like a junkie
You
here
can
today?
just show your 6-pack. That's fine. That's all
Who
for
looks
show.
like a junkie here today?
I look like a.
You
I'm
look
not.
like a crackhead with a suit on.
Was that?
You look like a crackhead with a suit on.
I could look like a crackhead with a suit on, but I've never been a crackhead like you don't. So you can say I look like one, but I've never been one. I've never been one.
Next question. Question is for John. John, you've obviously been largely inactive for the majority of the last 30 months. It wasn't really your choice, but what are some of the benefits, both physically and mentally, taking the time off?
Oh man, it's been awesome. You know, I got thrown into, became a multimillionaire when I was 23 years old, and that can do a lot to someone who's never prepared for that type of lifestyle. You know, I grew up with the bare minimum, and then I find myself with the whole world in the palm of my hand, with all types of options, and I didn't do right by it. And you know, I think my talent and my brand, it grew faster than my character and me as a person. And so having this last 2 years pretty much off, I really got to take a step back and look at my career and look at this organization as a fan, look at where I was in the position. And what I've concluded was I didn't take anything seriously. I mean, I was winning fights while partying, right? And I just started to think, like, you know, I just started taking everything for granted, and I started making mistakes. So it's been great to take a step back and to reevaluate things and prioritize and to realize how much this sport means to me, how much this position means to me. And today I feel like a much better version of myself. I feel like I just feel great. I feel rejuvenated. Thanks, guys.
And then the next question is for Daniel. Daniel, even before you held the belt, you were always an ambassador for the sport, a true sportsman. So what can we make of your pivot and shift on social media to change the conversation from athletics and competition to male genitalia?
Oh, well, I think we've, one thing that we have done over social media is exactly what we do when we're in each other's presence. It's just another platform to really get after your opponent. And, you know, he kind of put it out there that that's what it was, and that's why he didn't fight last year. So why not make fun of it? I mean, he makes fun of some of the things that I have done, you know, like the Olympics and the NCAA tournament and all these accomplishments that I've had in my life. And it's fine because it's all out there. So if it's out there, then it's fair game. So yeah, I make fun of his limp noodle.
And then just for Dana, some people might point to comments that you made not too long ago that John would not headline a card. What ultimately led you to go in this direction with John and Daniel at the top of the card?
Well, obviously, when that stuff happened at UFC 200, I was upset. I was upset with John Jones and, you know, the whole situation. So, you know, this is the first time John and I have seen each other or talked in a year. So.
Hey guys, question for John Jones. John, you had a lot of challenges leading into UFC 197. Obviously, you were in jail recently before the fight. Then there was obviously your mother's health, something that would have weighed in on your mind. And then leading into 182, there were some challenges as well. How do you feel leading into this fight? Has it sort of affected you differently? And is it fair to say this is the first time in a long time that you've gone into a fight with a fairly smooth road?
Yeah, I feel great. I feel like I answered this question already. But, you know, I feel great. Like I said, I have a really strong team of people around me right now. My coaches, Roberto Alencar, Brandon Gibson, Greg Jackson, Israel Martinez, Mike Winkeljohn, Mike Benefield, Devin Clark. Man, all the guys that are in my life are leaders. They're leaders, they're extraordinary men, and super grateful to be surrounded by such a strong group of people. I feel supercharged. Everything's going so smooth. Our energy's in a great place. And I got a feeling, man, we're going to take this great energy into the fight on Saturday night and absolutely dominate. Dominate. So I feel great. I feel really great. I'm excited to prove these words to be true.
I don't want to spoil your good energy, but at the end of the trailer, you uttered some powerful words, which were, I need to win this fight, I need to get my life back. I'm just curious, how closely is the belt and being the champion